I get a lot of questions and comments and positive comments about how my truck looks, and as soon as I come out here, it starts to rain. With having a slightly bigger or larger in diameter and slightly wider width tire, you get a lot of performance advantage with basically no downside. I've seen a lot of comments on Facebook groups and whatnot about what size fits what, when, where on these things, and I want to talk a little bit about my setup, why I went this way after having, I could have bought any tire I wanted to buy, and I went with these specifically, or this size specifically, and what other options that I could have chosen. Ooh, heard the thunder there. So these are 285 65 R20s on the stock wheel. Stock tire size is 275 65 R20. So we went up 10 millimeters on width in the same aspect ratio. So we just went up just a little tiniest bit. So we get a little bit of performance advantage from a little bit more diameter, which makes the truck look cooler. And we get a little bit of weight spreading, lowering the ground pressure by going a little bit wider. When you do something like that and you put only negligibly heavier tires on, if you go from highway tires to mud tires, you're really going to feel the weight of the tire. With these tires, the weight difference is pretty, not crazy. These AT4s are heavier, but that means that they're built really stoutly. I really like the sidewalls on these. I haven't had any punctures or anything like that, even doing mild off-roading. Know that a mud tire generally has better sidewall protection than an all-terrain in all cases, so keep that in mind. The fuel economy penalty is basically none. The ride quality handling, I believe it was improved, so no downside there. Looks wise, a little bit more aggressiveness, has a really nice look to it. Now, I've seen people ask, what about, specifically a gentleman posted that he wanted to put tremor wheels on his non-tremor Superduty, and what should he run? The tremor factory size is about 35 and a half. These tires are just a smidgen under 35, so we're talking about that much height difference, which is about that much radius difference. The difference between a 285 75 R18 and these is going to be so negligible that it's going to be very hard to put a number on it. You can definitely run tremor wheels on a non-tremor without a lift with factory size tremor tires. A step in between the two of those is a 295 65 R20. Again, those are excellent, would be a great tire for this. Part of me wishes that I would have done that, but I'll tell you right now that I don't need more tire for what I use my truck for. From what I can find, this thing punches through snow really high, has excellent on-road manners, basically no fuel economy penalty. I really like these tires. As I've said in many of my videos, the key to on-road handling and good tread life is airing down properly. I have 45 in the front right now, and shame on me as I say that. The rears are at 60. They're only at 60 because I was just towing the Mini on the trailer, and I haven't aired down yet, so excuse me for that. Normally, I keep them at 45, and that'll get me to tow anything up to about 10,000 pounds. So any boat, any car haul, or anything like that, 45 in the rear is plenty. I generally, for the dump trailer, air up to like 52-ish in the rear, leave these at 45, and then if the mini trailer is going to have extra stuff on it, like 47 and like 65 in the rear, 62, something like that. But what that gets you, or just because it's important to talk about, and I kind of harp on this, is a flat wear pattern. These tires have let's see here, we're almost at 30,000 miles, so just under 15,000 miles of use, of hard use, of daily driving, regular use. And they have a very flat wear pattern, and what they are is extremely stable. Now, of course, they've been rotated, but I just mowed the lawn. As you can see, the rears have a very similar, very flat, very reasonable amount of wear for 15,000 miles. So I like the look of filling the wheel wells. It looks good. I wouldn't recommend doing 33s on these trucks because they're too big. You can really see the difference between an almost 35 or a right at 35. Where you get a lot of weight and a lot of unnecessary potentially handling differences or potentially flotation on snow that you don't want to have, or icy roads, is going to a 12.5 or a 13.5. So if you can use the metric sizes to your advantage, like a 285, 295, or a 305, you're going to get a good combination between tire height and a good combination between tire width to do what you want to do. Now, the off-road look of having offset wheels and 17s or 18s with, mud tires or an aggressive hybrid tire or something like that, that look comes with it some downsides, and you guys should know about those. Anytime that you have more track width going on because you put offset wheels on, you're going to put more load on your front steering components and probably your front track bar, which on any and all vehicles, tie rod ends and your track bar on a straight axle vehicle is going to be a component strength limitation. Can also affect wheel bearings. One thing to consider too is, like, if you have an IFS vehicle, you don't have a track bar, but what you definitely have is ball joints that have a lot of load on them, A-arms that have a lot of load on them, bearings that have a lot of load on them, those things that will also wear too. So you're definitely not scot-free just because you have a GM or a different IFS vehicle. With this combination of a reasonable diameter, a 35 is a pretty healthy tire, a reasonable width that drops our contact load down to a reasonable level, you can expect your truck to do, say, 92% of what a full-blown 12.5 with like a mud tire or like a real hardcore off-road vehicle. That last 10% comes with it more than 10%, in my opinion, of fuel economy loss, of potentially ride quality loss, of potentially handling loss, especially in the snow and in the rain. So make sure that before you make that trade-off in going to the full-blown off-road setup, make sure that you don't actually really not need to have that. I generally get into 2 tracks, just mild, gentle off-roading, some sand, some things like that. And mostly my truck is doing highway chores, dirt roading, towing trailers, things like that. I don't need to have offsets. I don't need to have mud tires. And know that those things might have a look that maybe you're going after, but I highly recommend, for best performance, best fuel economy, best ride handling, all that good stuff, that you keep in mind that a snow rated, like a 3-peak all-terrain tire, has the sidewall strength, has the awesome looking sidewall lugs that make the truck look tough, have a decent looking tread pattern, have excellent ride and handling, great rain and snow performance, and get you that 90% of off-road capability without really basically any compromises to your truck. So that's kind of a balance that I try and strive for, especially on a daily driver. And as I've kind of learned after putting many hundreds of thousands of miles on different trucks with different wheel and tire combinations, a lot of a metric like a 285 75R16 on my Excursion, and a 285 70R17 on my Cummins, and a 305 7017 on my Cummins, and experimenting with different tread widths for different uses and things like that. When you're not doing full bore off-roading, sometimes having that full bore off-roading setup just really doesn't help you in the long run. And you can keep your bearing wear, ball joint wear, tie rod wear, track bar wear basically stock. You can keep your steering feel basically stock, your fuel economy basically stock, and you just get a nice little off-road look. So I recommend that you guys take a look at that for your trucks if that's how you use your vehicles like I do. And one thing that I've learned after many years of wheeling my daily is don't wheel your daily. That is probably the best recommendation that I can give you. Free advice here on this channel is have a really nice, trusty, reliable work truck. And if you want to do some hardcore off-roading, get a trailer and an XJ or whatever kind of off-road vehicle you want to modify, and have something that you can go have a really great time in on the weekend. And if you break it, it stays on the trailer and you fix it next week. That will save you so much money in the long run, and so much body damage, and just, this truck now is 2 years old, and so amazingly for me, isn't Michigan pinstriping running down the side of it. It still looks good, and that's because I've distributed my off-road usages to things that really should be off-road, as opposed to something that really shouldn't be off-road. So hopefully that helps you guys a little bit in your buying and decision-making decisions. Your tires are where the rubber meets the road, literally, and they are the best and most important investment you can make for your truck. And the look of your truck will change the most with simply a set of tires. You could take one truck and put highway tires on, these all-terrains, and then go to a really hefty mud tire without changing a single look or a single lift kit, a single modification, a single set of wheels, and the truck will totally look different, and it will totally handle, ride, and perform differently with literally one change. And that can go positive and negative for all those different ride handling, off-road performance, and on-road performance characteristics. So know that the tires are a very important investment that you need to consider. And, you know, running the stock tires may or may not be the best choice for you. I'll tell you right now that I liked the stock Bridgestones on my truck. I think that they were excellent highway tires if you were looking for highway tires. But having a little bit more tread and having a little bit better braking, acceleration, cornering performance in the snow and in the rain can save your truck from an accident. So that investment may be worth it to you to get into something that is specifically tailored for your uses. And in the same way, if you're someone who takes your truck and you're going hunting, you're going fishing, you're going trapping, and sloppy conditions are something you get into. Here in Michigan, we run mud tires a lot in the snow. And the reason is because we tend to get deep snow, and what's underneath the snow is generally leaves, sticks, roots, and mud. So we need to be prepared for that condition, even though mud tires may not be the best performer in the snow, but they're the best performer for what's underneath the snow, and that's what we're digging down to. So that could be the difference between sliding your truck into a tree when you're off-roading because, you know, you slid down a hill and you wiped the side of the truck off. Simple change in tires can go such a long way toward protecting your vehicle and protecting your occupants, as well as giving you the ride, handling, and performance that you like. Every time I drive my truck, I marvel at its fuel economy, its great handling, it's just comfortable ride in general. And again, that comes from airing down the tires properly, and generally low cost of ownership, which is one of the things I really love about this specific truck. Is it's not a high-end truck. It's a 7.3 gas. It's a cheaper truck, and it's just doing all the work that I could ever ask it to do, whether it be on-road, some mild off-roading, hunting, fishing, camping, towing boats around, towing race car trailers around. It's doing what I need it to do for a cheap amount, and some of that is down to a very reasonable tire package on the stock wheels that look amazing. So you get the look and you get the performance. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember to like and subscribe if you want to see more content about trucks, wheels, tires, trailers, the whole 9 yards. I have lots of videos that you can check out, lots of playlists that you can check out. So go ahead and do that. I would appreciate it if you did, and have a great day.